Shit's about to get wild. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the Circe saga of Epic the Musical. And so yeah, we're a week behind on this because there is the week that I wasn't able to do anything on Monday, and that kind of like put things back a little bit. So sorry about being a little off in terms of the timing. I know it's been like 3 weeks instead of two, but not really much I could do about that. It was an unforeseen circumstance. So, but we are back, and yeah, last we left off, Poseidon kind of decimated the vast majority of Odysseus's crew because of because of Odysseus's ego. His ego led him to, not leave Polyphemus alive. That was more due to his compassion and mercy. His ego caused him to reveal his name and full identity to Polyphemus. His pride got the better of him in the moment, and he just kind of bragged about his accomplishment. This allowed, obviously, Polyphemus to tell his father, Poseidon, and caused what happened here. And, like, Poseidon even gave him a chance. It's like, just apologize, man. and instead, Odysseus made excuses. He never said sorry, at least within the context of this musical. Because I've talked about it before, the musical is slightly different from the original story. Kind of has to be. There's certain things that, just can't be done exactly the same. There's not enough time. The Odyssey is a really big story. And within the scope of a musical, especially with having, 4 songs typically per act, per saga, there's not really enough time to tackle everything with the nuance that it has in the original story. And there's some things that are just kind of wrong. Like, I think the island, Aeolus's island, wasn't in the sky in the original story. I think that's something that was just a misinterpretation, because it's I think referred to as a floating island. So it's oh, floating must mean floating in the air. No, not necessarily. I don't think it was in the sky, and there's other little things here and there. It's and that's going to be the case. I'm accepting of that. The main points of the story are still here. The big gist of it still remains, and that's what really keeps it still being the Odyssey. It's still the same story, still hits the same beats, the same moments. There's just little things that are given, obviously, in the original story, a lot more context, a lot more depth, a lot more nuance. I think I mentioned this before as well with Athena, and specifically how she and Odysseus, how their relationship worked and how their breakup worked and everything. All that went behind that. It was definitely a bit different than in the story, or in the musical. But either way, I mean, it's still great. The music is great. Some songs are better than others, of course. Since I last watched that, though, I I have become kind of obsessed with ruthlessness, if I'm being completely honest. Like, after I initially reacted to the Ocean Saga, I watched Danny Mata's reactions. I watched other people's reactions, and it's just ruthlessness kind of skyrocketed to the top for songs for me. It's just certain elements of the song, just I really grew to love a lot more. Certain lines and the way they're said, the way they're combined with the music. How does that one line go? Um, you're bad at being a good warrior because you're not even great, or something like that. It's something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's you're the worst kind of you're the worst kind of good because you're not even great. And when he's like saying, and you're not even great, it's like there's this like kind of like progressive beat to that with not even great. And it's just like, it's just so cool. It's so cool. It's such a good moment. And of course, like at about the end of the song, he's like, naivety and hopefulness. When it gets to that point of the song, it's like just the way that builds up to eventually him saying die is so powerful. It's like, and there's other songs I still love a great deal in this, obviously, but that kind of just really started to like hit all the right notes for me. Because when you first listen to the song and watch the animatics in your initial viewing, it's like you're trying to pay attention to a lot of the story as well. You're trying to like focus, and it's like you're not just enjoying it for what it is. So on multiple like re-listens, re-watches, you're going to like appreciate it a little bit more each time. At least I do from my perspective. But yeah, I nonetheless really enjoyed what we got there, and I'm excited to see more. So the Circe saga is next. And yeah, this is the aftermath of, the vast majority of the crew being decimated and killed by Poseidon. They got away thanks to the Bag of Winds. And now they're heading for something pretty wild. I'll leave it at that. And I don't know how this is going to be portrayed in the musical, but this gets pretty weird. um, from what I remember, like I said, it's been a long, long, long time since I've actually read the Odyssey. But from what I remember, it gets pretty weird at this point. Because prior to this, it's like nothing about it is like weird. It's just kind of like it's epic in a lot of ways, and there's like these cool moments, and there's a little bit maybe strangeness, but nothing weird. But that's where this starts to change. Um, Again, from what I remember. So we're gonna get into this. Hope for the best. And we're gonna get this out of the way right away. I'm going to mention who all of the animatic creators are right here. I'll probably mention it again during the reaction though. So we have Puppeteer by Gigi. We've seen Gigi's animatics before. Ximena Natzel, sorry if I mispronounced that, is Wouldn't You Like. Done For is by Gwendy NSZD Studios. That's a new one. I think both of those two are new. Gigi's, I think, the only one we've known before. And the last one for this saga, There Are Other Ways, is by Crashite, which we've seen Crashite's work before. So we're getting a couple new ones. Like I said, we're using a specific playlist that I found that has everything in it. So I just went with this playlist. So if your favorite animatics for something aren't in here, I do apologize. I can't really help that. I'm just going with this playlist. It makes it easier. But yeah, so let's get into this and see what the Circe saga has in store for us. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I don't know if it is actually confirmed, but like with what I was saying in the reaction, with in the anime movie Spirited Away by Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli, you see the parents start eating a bunch of food and eventually they're turned into pigs because their piggish nature is revealed and they become literally physically pigs through this. And it's like very early in the movie, it's like kind of a setting for everything that happens afterwards. And I don't know if that was directly inspired by this, but I have to feel like it possibly and probably was, at least to some degree. Obviously, the Odyssey, not Epic the Musical, but still. Um, so yeah, this is where things start to get a little weirder in the story, where we have like a witch turning people into pigs and everything, and we get the entire like battle scene with the uh the Chimera and the Polyphemus and everything, the Cyclops. Which let me make sure on something real quick. I believe that's kind of what happened originally. Let me check here. Odyssey, Odysseus versus Circe. I'm not looking for a bunch of info, but just very specifically. Um, because I don't 100% remember if this is kind of exactly how it worked. So I just want to make sure. Because it's like with the Chimera and the Cyclops, it's like, because that's like really cool. It's like a fun idea. Okay, when I'm looking it up with Chimera, it specifically mentions Epic the Musical. And I'm not like seeing like any like specifics on like the differences there. I'm just hmm. And this is done for, I believe. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that like says one way or the other. I don't think it did, but yeah, it's still really interesting to see because I think there might have been a Chimera in there, but I don't know if it was like connected to this. Again, it's been a long time. But considering everything I was looking or I was getting with the search there was related to specifically Epic the Musical, I'm thinking maybe not. Because I wasn't even looking up Epic the Musical. I was looking up the Odyssey specifically. But let us talk about all of these. So we start with Puppeteer, and this is with them arriving on Circe's island. Eurylochus and his group of men go to, like, basically just search the island, check things out, see if it's safe. They find a woman who seduces them, all except Eurylochus, and then turns them into pigs with this great feast. And yeah, it's like, again, from what I remember, that's pretty much how it happened. Eurylochus comes back, tells Odysseus what happened, and Odysseus and him argue about, like, going to save them with, you know, the general, the king, choosing to do so in the end against Eurylochus's wishes, because Eurylochus just wants to cut his losses and just leave. He just doesn't want to, like, take any more risks at this point. He wants to get home and just, survive, which is understandable. But Odysseus still has that kind of heroic nature to him where he doesn't want to leave anyone behind. They have, like, again, I think it's like 43 men left under their control. And it's like he wants to make sure that they can all survive if possible. He doesn't want to lose any more. It was like 600 men at first, and it's like he's lost so drastically many of them because of Poseidon. Yeah, I think it makes sense that he'd want to save anyone he could at this point. So he goes into the island and ends up being confronted by Hermes, the messenger god. Hermes offers him the moly flower, which allows him to be able to, fight Circe, basically. And again, I just don't remember if the manifestation thing was part of it. I don't think it was, but I'm not 100% on that. I would have to probably read it again. But he goes in, he meets Circe, they fight, and while he bests her in combat, she chooses to change the style of fight, I guess. She chooses to instead try to appeal to his lust. And here's where a big change happens. Because in the actual Odyssey, this kind of works. And one thing of note is, I don't think it was mentioned here, but Circe's not just some random witch or anything. She's a goddess, right? Like, isn't she the daughter of Helios? So it's like, I don't think that was mentioned at all here. And I think she has something to do with Scylla and Charybdis as well. But I'm not 100% on that. Again, it's been a long time. But yeah, it actually kind of works, and Odysseus does fall to temptation here in the Odyssey. And I know they spend a good amount of time on the island as well. This makes it seem like it's just really quick. Like, he goes in and convinces her, and they leave within the scope of a day. But no, it's a lot longer. I don't remember exactly how long. Yeah, I just have no idea. But they're there for a lot longer period of time. And so it's not expressed, like, greatly here, but I mean, I guess with some changes that makes sense. Because again, Odysseus in the Odyssey is not, well, I mean, he still, like, loves Penelope and wants to get back to her, but he doesn't end up being as loyal as you would want him to be. He falls to temptation. And if I remember right, he does straight up sleep with Circe. But he does eventually manage to, like, convince her and everything, and she does, like, find his love for his wife to be respectable, and she does offer to help out. So it's like, again, it kind of, like, touches on the right key points, but changes some things here and there, as well as, like, kind of, like, skims over some stuff. It's just something that has to be done, otherwise this would be so significantly longer. And I understand that, but it's like, I do kind of wish that it showed Odysseus falling to these temptations. Because they could show that. They could show that in here and still have it be short. Even if it just showed him, like, considering it more. Even if if it didn't fully show that he did sleep with her, if it even showed him just, like, kind of considering it, I feel like it would have been, it would have still worked within the context of everything else we've seen. Um, but yeah, she tells him that they have to go to the underworld to find this blind prophet who, is dead. And that's kind of where the next saga is going. It's the underworld saga. It's one of the sagas I would say that people remember about the Odyssey the most. Like, obviously, Polyphemus is probably the most remembered part of the Odyssey. But people definitely remember the underworld parts of it pretty well. Um, so that's gonna be really fun to check out and to see how it's represented here, especially with the music, because I feel like the music has to take a drastic turn with this one. Um, you have the music kind of still fitting a similar vibe to the rest of it with the Circe saga, but I feel the Underworld saga is definitely going to have to take a bit of a different approach just for the vibes of it. But I'm curious nonetheless to see how it's approached. Now, in terms of the music from this time, I think my favorite is Wouldn't You Like with Hermes. I just really like the beat to that. Also, oh, I wanted to check this. I didn't check this out yet. Um, I wanted to see who is the voice of Hermes and even Circe as well, because it's like I really like their performances there, and I wanted to see who voiced them for that reason. Circe was Talia Sindel, and Hermes was Troy Doherty. I don't recognize any of either of those names. Of course, I don't recognize almost any of the names in this, to be fair. So it's like that's not really saying too much. But yeah, it's like I don't recognize them, but they did. I wanted to give them credit nonetheless because I do believe that Talia and Troy both did a fantastic job in their performances here, and so just wanted to check that out and give them credit there. I still think that Poseidon's voice, I still think he was the best performance so far, even like ahead of Odysseus. Jorge's performance is him. Like Poseidon was just next level in terms of like the way he sang and everything, the grit, the I don't know how to describe. I'm not great with like musical terms, and that includes with like vocalizations and all. I'm not like amazing at like understanding what terms are what and everything. So I hope you understand what I mean. But yeah, I just think his performance has been the best so far. But I'm definitely gonna have to listen to these songs again. Like I said, just with last time, I'll probably end up liking these songs a lot more as we continue, and hopefully, it just proves to be, another case of I just need to hear them more. Just like with Ruthlessness, though I liked Ruthlessness a lot right from the start. To be fair, but yeah, so next time we'll get to the Underworld saga. That'll be in more than likely 2 weeks. We're probably just going to keep going with that. And so for now, tell me your thoughts on the Circe saga down below. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.